My dear brothers and sisters, today we are in the 19th Sunday of the ordinary season. We know the old saying, experience is the best teacher. Experience is essential for our human life and growth. And very especially when we experience something bad, when we experience suffering, and that experience teaches us more lessons than thousands of warnings. And that's what I call personal experience that we encounter. Do we have such a personal experience of God? Do we have such a personal experience of the Eucharist that we celebrate, that we participate? Jesus comes. Jesus ever comes in the Eucharist. Jesus speaks to us in the Word of God. He teaches our hearts in the bread of life. He touches our hearts in the bread of life, the living bread. If so, then we can be led to say we have the personal experience of God. It's a very common complaint of people when we are faced with suffering, when we are faced with problems, when pain stings us. The question is, why me? Why my family? Why my child? What sin did we commit? This is what the prophet Elijah experienced in the first reading of today. Elijah finds himself completely deserted, utterly destroyed, discouraged. He even prays to God for his own death. He says, "This is enough, Lord. Oh Lord, take my life." Elijah was giving up in despair, thinking that death is the end of everything. Death is the way to escape the unresolved crisis of his life. But God, my dear friends, God does not let Elijah escape his duty, his work, the task entrusted to him. At the crucial moment, God reveals himself as the helper in need, as the strength to strengthen him by the bread which the angel offers him. And in the gospel we observe, my dear friends, Jesus declares himself as the living bread that comes down from heaven, and whoever eats this bread will live forever. Hearing this, people were offended. They protest, they murmur, they reject Jesus. How can he give us his flesh to eat? He asks them to stop murmuring, to stop complaining, because murmuring and complaining leads to unbelief. It leads to rebellion. It leads to rejection of God himself. And this happens even in our personal relationship. When we murmur, when we always complain about a person, we cannot relate to that person. That leads to rejecting that person, fighting with that person. And thus, it takes us away from that person. Like manna, it takes us away from God, from the grace and strength of God. Yes, my dear friends, it is the humble trust, the faith that opens us to the grace of God. As God once strengthened Elijah by his words, by his bread, we too are strengthened by the word of God during the Eucharist, by Jesus offering himself as his own body for us in this Holy Eucharist. So let us in faith partake in the Holy Eucharist, both by his words and body. Let us be nourished. Therefore, let us trust, let us have that faith in God and in one another. Where there is love, there is trust. Where there is trust, there is peace. Let the peace of Christ be with you all.